Is this your first class today?
Yes, it is. Yes. I have two today. This one and one at 10:30.
I'll be your TA as well.
Oh, one at 11:30. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll be your
I'm your
TA as
host
well.
back again. The stream
Okay,
is live now.
thanks. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you. Bye now.
Well, welcome everybody to finding apps for your iPhone. Okay. We'll get people joining in. Hi. Hi, Kathleen. Good to see you again. Hi, Nina. Chris, I see some familiar faces. Okay, so we'll get people logged in and get started in a minute or two. So I'm just when I'm after I go over the agenda, I'm going to open up for any questions. Then we'll take questions as we go through the class. But I'm just curious if anybody's got any specific questions or issues that they might have about using the finding apps or using the App Store. Anybody have anything? Or it could be new for all of you, so that's okay. If it's new, that's not a problem.
I'm still working on the basic functions of the iPhone, but I figure any class that I listen to, I learn or I'm familiar with a little bit. So I'm not ready for apps, but I'm here to listen.
Oh, you are ready for apps, Kathleen. That's you probably don't know you are using them much more than you think. Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Henrietta, hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good. Did you have a question?
Yes, I can't download any app. No, that
You cannot.
no. Now I would like to know download, and then if I don't need the app, I can always
Okay. And you're using an iPhone, right?
Yes, I'm using an iPhone.
Okay. Well, we'll walk through downloading. I have someone's phone ringing, so I'm going to mute everyone here. Okay. So we don't get disturbed in the background. Microphones on phones, tablets, and other devices pick up a lot of background noise that you might think is quiet in the background, but the microphones are really sensitive and they can pick up noise very easily. Okay. All right. Well, if sounds like we've got some people new to the iPhone App Store, so that's great. Glad to have you with us this morning. We have Phil from the Get Set Up TA team here who is on the call to help support us with anything in terms of using Zoom or trying to get Zoom working. That'll help us out too. Okay. Right. Phil, hi. Phil's waving, said hi. So he's there watching in the background, and we'll go through things. So let me share a few slides with you. Those of you that have been on Get Set Up classes, you probably know we go through a little bit of an introduction and explain a little bit about who we are. For those of you that have had me for classes before, you've heard me say I live in Seal Beach, California. I was born in Chicago. I moved out to the West Coast to go to college and stayed out here. I worked in the technology industry and owned my own technology companies. I started doing training of adults about 2007 part-time and did it in 2009, started doing it full-time. So I publish books, I write about technology, and I like to try and make technology simpler for people to understand. And I use most of the things I teach about. It's because I feel as a user, it helps me understand what people might encounter. Okay, so Get Set Up is an organization that helps you learn useful skills from people just like you. I mean, so that you can do wonderful things. Just that, I may not know yoga or ballroom dancing as well as you do, but I know technology. And so everybody's got a little bit of skills they carry into life with them. You can request a recording after class. We are recording. You can send an email to help@getsetup.io. And if you're joining by live stream, the best way, we encourage you to join us, set up an account on Get Set Up. and register for a class so you can participate and ask questions like some of the other people that are participating today. And even though we might mention products, I'm going to mention a lot of apps. I'm going to mention Apple and other things. We aren't paid by anybody to promote them. We just are helping you understand what they are and how they work. Okay. We really don't have a very complicated agenda, but it might seem complicated to you if the App Store or an iPhone is new to you. Some of you might have had an iPhone for years. Who's had their iPhone for more than a couple of years? Anybody? Just wave and let me know. I can see you waving. Okay. But you know, it's the apps that make it a useful tool for us. Without apps, it's really not something that really is very useful. It's just basically a piece of metal and glass and silicon and, you know, stuff that we paid almost $1,000 for, and it's just sitting on our desk, and we really don't, you know, make much. It's the apps that make it useful. App stands short for applications, and that's why we use technology. You know, I mean, if somebody said they wanted to drill a hole in the wall, you know, they'd buy a drill. Okay, so it's the drill is a tool, and your phone, your smartphone is a tool, just like anything else. And it's the apps that make it useful. So we'll talk a little bit about how to find apps on the App Store, some tricks that I'll share with you that will help you. How to tell if an app is free or paid, because that's a concern of a lot of people, and how to manage some subscription apps. So we had a couple of questions from people. Anybody else think of anything? You know, since we started off, questions about the App Store or anything, or apps? Okay, well, I'm going to show you a few things about the iPhone App Store app. It is an app that comes standard on your iPhone. Apple supplies about 20 applications, right, that are pre-installed on your iPhone. They're included with the iPhone. They're included with iPads. Many of them are very, very similar between iPads and iPhones. It's just that the screen on an iPad is bigger, so it looks a little bit different, okay? And when we look at the App Store, we try and navigate and do some things. So we're going to learn some terms, and I'm going to show you how to tell what things. We're going to learn what the term get means. Means it's free to install, but the app may have something called in-app purchases. Okay, that means that inside the app, there's an option to upgrade or purchase. If there's a price listed for the app, you're going to pay Apple. Apple, in order to use the App Store, you usually have to register a credit card with Apple in case you make a purchase. And so many apps are free. They say just get on them, but many apps have in-app purchases. It's kind of like the idea of a free sample. You know, when you get a free sample of something, you can try it out, see if you like it. And then if you do, then you can buy, you know, more of it, or buy, you know, a full portion or something like that. All of the purchases you make to the App Store are paid to Apple. Apple takes the money and they send along a percentage of it, you know, to the application developer, whoever made the app. This thing called an in-app purchase may be for features or subscriptions you buy inside the app. You'll see a symbol called open, a button. And if you see a symbol called open, it means the app is already installed on your device. And once you buy an app, you don't have to pay for it again. Okay, so Apple keeps track of this. And then you'll see a cloud symbol. A cloud symbol kind of looks like a little bit of a cloud. That's a terrible looking cloud, I know. But it has an arrow pointing down. Looks more like a mountain than a cloud. Sorry about that. And you see a symbol like that, it means you purchased the app or you installed it once before. It's just not currently installed on your iPhone. Okay, so we're going to learn about all of these things, what they mean, and how you can understand and take advantage of apps. Any questions so far? Excuse me a little bit. I'm going to have a sip of coffee to moisten my throat. Okay. Let's look around. Okay, so now's the time when I switch over to my iPhone screen. So give me a moment here while I get that set up. And I will share my iPhone screen with you so you can see what I'm doing as I am on my iPhone. Okay. Okay, so you should see my iPhone home screen. And there's a couple of navigation tips that Apple gives you that you may or may not recognize about your using your phone. I'm going to use my highlighter here with my mouse. You should see a little red dot with my mouse moving around. And that's going to represent my finger because I can't actually show you my finger touching my screen. Okay, so I want you to look at the bottom, and you can follow along if you want. If it's okay. At the bottom of my phone, there are some dots. Okay, and when you see dots on almost anything, it kind of means that there's more available to look at. When you see dots in an application, when you see dots on a website, when you see dots as a button, that means more. It means more. And so if I swipe my finger from the right side of my screen to the left, watch what happens to those dots. A different one lights up because I'm on a different screen. As you install apps on your phone, they'll set themselves up on a screen for you. And so as you fill up one screen, it just automatically adds another screen. You can have up to 11 screens. So you got a lot of room for apps, okay? You got a lot of room for apps. And if you don't like an app, I'll show you how to delete it. We're going to download an app from the App Store that we're just going to do for class. And then we're going to see if we like it. And then we're going to make an arbitrary decision that we don't want it on our phone anymore. And we're going to delete it. So you know how to delete apps too, okay? Now I have another dot. I'm on this dot that's lit up, and I can go from right to left again. Okay, and I put my store apps from Apple up on this screen just so easy to show you and there's no distractions. This is the App Store app. Okay, some people have been confused because there also is an Apple Store app. And the Apple Store app is where you buy physical products like a phone, a case, a Macintosh, earbuds. That's where you buy physical things. All the apps that you install on your phone will come from the App Store, and it's run by Apple. And Apple inspects all of the apps and checks them all for security, so that it's really made iPhones extremely secure, because if anybody was trying to install software on your phone, they have to go through the App Store. But since the App Store is owned and run by Apple, they check all the apps that are available for you to install for security purposes automatically. And if there's an app that doesn't meet their standards, they don't let it get listed in the App Store, and they've kicked apps off of the App Store because they didn't update themselves properly or make sure they were safe for people to use. There's also an iTunes Store. The iTunes Store is where you go to buy music, TV shows, movies, and you can even rent things from them. So Apple runs 3 stores. This is a big business. The iTunes Store and the App Store for Apple are a big business because it's like almost, people estimate it's like $20 billion a year in revenue. So just the electronic stuff that people are buying is great. And when you buy music from the iTunes Store, you don't actually get a physical CD or LP record anymore, do you? You get it just downloads somehow to your phone and you can play it, right? Same thing with other apps too. Okay, so this is the App Store. And now there's one more screen. Well, Bob, how can there be one more screen? Because you're on the furthest right dot that's lit up. Well, last October, when Apple announced their update of the iPhone and iPad operating system, they introduced something called the App Library. people were getting lost. They weren't sure where apps are. They had trouble finding them on their phone. And the app library is not an app. It's not a button you press. It's a screen you swipe to see. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to swipe from right to left all the way to my home screen. This is what I see when I wake up my phone. You can see I'm on the furthest left dot. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Even though there's no dot there, if you swipe all the way from right to left, and now it won't go anymore. If I try swiping right to left, there's nothing else there. But this is the app library. It's a special screen that they now include with every iPhone and I believe iPad too. I haven't tried it on my iPad, but I use mostly on my phone. And this is the app library. They organize apps into categories. Suggestions, these are things that I use frequently. Okay, I use YouTube, I take pictures, I look at my calendar, and I use the Apple Wallet. Not everybody uses the Apple Wallet, but I do. They take a look at recently added ones. Okay, so this was a date calculator. You know how calculating dates is confusing for me? I mean, I was never the best at math, but calculating dates, like if somebody was born in 1953, how old are they now? And you have to take care of the century transition, right? Or if some things you want something 30 days away from now, type of thing, or you want something 3 weeks away from now. So I said, well, let me see if a date calculator could help out. So I downloaded that. I use apps for work with Get Set Up and finance. I have some utilities, and it just helps organize these apps into categories automatically. Now, one of your fellow students asked me in a class about a month ago when I was doing this, is there a way to find an alphabetical list of apps that you have on your phone? So I said, well, I don't know. So I found out, we actually tried it out in class. This app library box up on top here has a magnifying glass, and that's the classic icon for search. Whenever you see that icon, it means you can use it to search. If you tap your finger, I'm going to tap my finger in that blank field, it brings up an alphabetical list of apps automatically. And so I can scroll through this, or if I'm really good with my finger, I can tap on a letter and find an app, go by alphabetical order here. But you have to be really good. They're small letters, so you have to be careful with your fingers. And if you want to start an app, you just tap it and it opens it up. Nomo Robo is a spam call blocker I use because I have a cellular service with Spectrum, and they don't have a spam blocker that they provide for their users. But Nomo Robo seems pretty good. Okay, so these are all the apps I have on my phone. You can see I have a lot of apps. Okay, and some of them are store apps. Like IKEA has an app for their store, and a lot of those apps are free. I use Instacart we've been getting things delivered a lot during COVID. I have an Instapot. I have that for recipes. So these are just all things that are available so that you can search your app library if you want to, or just cancel this if you want to cancel it, and it'll show your library again. Now, how do I get off this screen? I just swipe from right to left, and I'm back on one of my home screens. Great resource. Any questions about the app library? Because it's one of the best things Apple's done to help people organize apps. Has anyone tried it before? Okay. It's really a good resource to know about. All right, let's take a look at the App Store app. And let's open it up and see what happens. I'm going to show you first, my favorite way of finding apps, but it's not obvious, unfortunately. Apple gives you a lot of ways to look at apps in the App Store to help you navigate around, but my favorite way isn't always the easiest to find. So I'm going to show you that because I found it really useful. Okay, so I'm going to open up the App Store by tapping on the icon called the App Store. And Apple has two things that will help you navigate around apps. At the top is some information, and at the bottom is some information. Okay, so at the top, it tells me that I'm looking at today, Sunday, April 11th, and it's got my profile picture right there. And I can access my profile. We'll take a look at the profile in a few minutes. At the bottom are some buttons. You can see the Today button is lit up. If I tap on these different buttons, it will change what I am looking at on the screen. This now says Games. This one says Apps. Well, I'm in the App Store, so why does it say apps? I'll explain that in a minute. This one says Arcade, which is a service Apple offers for playing over 100 games for free. It's a subscription, okay? And then there's a search icon. If you want to search for an app in the App Store, you can find it here. So by tapping on these tabs on the bottom, you can change what shows up on your screen. Okay? That's a common navigation technique for apps because they don't have a lot of space on your screen. It's a really small screen. It's not like your big desktop or laptop. And so they use little tools like that to help you navigate around here. So this is like saying, okay, do I want to look at the Today view of the App Store, the Games department of the App Store, look at all apps, look at the Arcade, or search. Okay, those are just different choices. So if I, for example, tap on Arcade and I close my app, I have a iPhone with a swipe, not a home button. So if I swipe up, if I go to the Apple Store, okay, and then go back to the App Store, it goes back to what I was doing last on the App Store. Okay, apps don't start up from scratch when you access them. They go back, they remember the last thing you were doing, and they show that. So if I'm looking at Arcade and I take a phone call or I want to check email, and then I go back to the App Store, it's going to show me the Arcade screen. And so I just have to remember, look at the bottom to see what I'm looking at. How do I get back to the Today view? I just tap on Today. Okay, so they try and make, now what you don't necessarily realize is that just because it appears on your screen doesn't mean there's not more information. There is. I can swipe up with my finger and I can scroll through a really long list of information. And they will have different types of things. They'll have, this is a view that changes every day. Apple runs the App Store. And so they're choosing what goes in the Today view, and they want you to come back and visit it every day. So they come back, they change things for people every day. Just a lot of things. And so it's just a quick view. And if you didn't see anything that interested you that day, visit it tomorrow, right? It's like the specials that you see at a grocery store. Sometimes they'll have, I love Pippin apples, and they don't come into season very often. It's really hard to find them. And you may have an item like that you look for that comes in once a little bit of season. So today is about giving you different views on everything. The favorite part I have of the App Store is the Apps tab. The Apps tab has a lot of information and probably more information than you realize. Now, they'll have some things at the top. It'll say apps, and you'll see kind of a little separation here. It looks like there's the hint of something to the right of this marker. You see these little outlines of apps here that are here. Okay. That's because there is something there. Okay. I can swipe from right to left and I can see more. I can see more. I can keep on swiping and they'll show me some suggestions for apps and different types of things that are out available for people. I can scroll up. They have some interesting sections here, new to iPhone. Okay, I can swipe from right to left and see them if I want to. So here's an example of an app that says open. Remember I mentioned that at the beginning? Here's an example where I see an app listed here and it says open. That means that I already have it on my phone. I don't have to download and install it. It's already on my phone. But here's an app with a cloud. That's a better looking cloud than what I draw, you know, but it's a cloud. That means that I downloaded it before, but I don't currently have it on my phone. So I've downloaded a lot of apps. I try out a lot of apps. Okay, so, and there's the see all. Whenever you see something in blue, it usually means it's something you can tap on. So if I tap on see all, it will give me everything in a list. Okay. Now here's one called Calm, Meditation and Sleep Stories. It says get, and it has in-app purchases. So how do we find out more about that? In-app purchases is usually really in small print, but it's there, so you can find it. So if I want to learn more about Calm, I can tap on the app listing here, and I just tap on that. It brings up an information screen about the app. This is kind of like the printing on the box in a store that you see. Hi, Kathleen. Did you raise your hand?
Yes, I did. How do you know whether they're free or not?
If it says get, it is free to download and install.
Okay.
Let me try and show you one I'm looking at top free apps. If I go to apps that are, here's one that says $4.99.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This one says get, this one says $4.99. So, however, some apps have these things called in-app purchases. So get means you can download the app and install it for free and use it for some things, but there may be optional features that are available for purchase inside the app. Okay. But you would buy it inside the app. So it's pretty clear in the App Store. I can't download Waterminder unless I pay $4.99. Okay, that's going to charge me $4.99 to the card I have on file with Apple.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Great segue. Okay, so let me go find Calm again, if I can find it. There we go. There's Calm. And let's take a look and find out. This is the one that's get. So it is free to download, but what are these in-app purchases? So if I want to look at the app to find out, I can just tap anywhere on the screen here. And before I tap get, I want to scroll up. They'll have some pictures of the app. They'll explain what the app does. They'll tell you it runs on the iPhone, the iPad, Apple TV. That's interesting. And Apple Watch. Okay, so they'll tell you all the things it runs on. I don't have an Apple Watch, but I have an Apple TV. And I use it just for mostly streaming things like Netflix and Amazon and stuff. So it's gotten a lot of good reviews, 4.8 out of 5, 1,221,000 ratings. That's a lot. You'll find most of the things that are featured in the App Store are 4.0 or above. So let's scroll up. This was an editor's choice. Tells you what's new. It tells you a subscription that's available called Calm Premium. And we can see what the details are on that. Okay, free for 1 week, then $69.99 a year after the trial. That's probably their in-app purchase. But let's scroll down. They tell you, Apple's telling you a privacy information. And to be honest, I'm still figuring some of this out. I mean, they'll keep track of purchases. They'll keep track of what you use, but this is you personally, and this is just data that they're collecting. So apps and websites collect a lot of data, and Apple's doing a lot of things to cover privacy, but it's complicated to understand right now. Okay, so here's way down at the bottom of the listing here, this in-app purchases. Yeah, Kathleen.
Sorry again. Where do you find the listing on your iPhone? What data they're collecting? Or do you have to go into apps and do something?
You have to look at the specific app. Okay, so if the app is there is a privacy setting on iPhones, I think, that will tell you what apps are collecting data. But in the App Store listing itself, the app tells you what it's collecting.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sure. Now, here's in-app purchases. Okay, it says yes, and there's a little arrow. Whenever you see an arrow, by the way, it's kind of like navigating computers is kind of like navigating the road. When you took your driver training, you learned what, and you go to take a driver test. Sometimes they'll put on the test, what is how many sides to a stop sign, right? Or they'll have the octagonal shape and they won't have the word stop on it. And you're supposed to guess what sign that is. They're navigational tools in technology as well. And whenever you see an arrow that's pointing up, down, sideways, it means there's more information available if you tap on that item or click on it. So here's in-app purchases. It says yes. If I tap on the arrow, it explains what they are. So there's the Calm Premium, subscriptions that are available. And I don't know whether some are yearly or some are monthly or why they have different prices, but they do have premium subscription options that are available that you can purchase in the app. And if you download the app, and they will explain, what the premium information, what the premium purchase is. Okay, so some apps are completely free. Some apps have charge you, and some apps have what are called in-app purchases. And in-app purchases can be subscriptions, or they can be one-time purchases, but they'll tell you up front before you make the purchase what it is. So that's an example. Here are completely free apps. I have a lot of free apps. So let's see if we can find a free app that I've never downloaded. Here's DoorDash. Okay, DoorDash says get, and there's no in-app purchases. Now, when they mean in-app purchases, they mean purchases you're making for the app. In order to order food, you're going to pay for the food. Or if you order something from Amazon, you're going to pay for the product, right? But you don't pay for anything in the app. So if I want to look at DoorDash, I can see what it does. I can scroll and take a look at a couple of the screens to see how it works. It's actually now the #1 app in the food and drink category. And ratings and reviews, all types of things. So if I say, gee, I'd like to get DoorDash, I'm going to tap the get button. Okay, it's free. Okay, so I'm tapping, and now it is asking me to double click on my side power button to install it. If it was a purchase, it would ask me to double click in order to buy it. So until you double click, nothing's happened. So I'm actually going to double click my phone. And I was able to do it and watch you guys at the same time. That was great. Okay, and now it's asking me to install. It wants my Apple ID because I upgraded my phone, and it seems to ask me for this a little bit more since I upgraded. There we go. Okay, so now it's installing. You might have to enter your Apple ID to install it like I did. And it has a little wheel that rolls around to tell you it's installing. You can go and do other things. Now, instead of saying get, it says open. Right? Remember I said when you have open it up, and if I just tap open, but where did it end up in my screen? Well, let me go back to my home screen. It's not on this one. It's not on this one. It's on the second one. Usually it doesn't put it on your first one. It puts it on the second one, but you'll find it here. And if I just tap on DoorDash, it opens up the app and it'll ask me to set up an account and everything like that. Okay. Now, let's say I didn't want to keep DoorDash on my phone and I want to delete it. If you tap and hold on any app icon on your screen, it unlocks your home screen. So it's not a tap. If you tap, you open the app. If that's a tap, you tap and let go. But if you press and hold on the app, they will start jiggling. Okay. And they'll give you a little menu, but the menu is pretty quick even for me. So I'm going to tap and hold on my DoorDash icon. And now they're all jiggling. This means I can move them around. I can, change what row they're in, and I can delete it. That little minus sign in the upper left-hand corner, if I tap that, it says remove. I can remove it from the home screen and keep it in my library, or I can delete the app off my phone as well, completely. I'm going to delete it. Why not, right? So I'm going to delete the app. I click on delete the app. It confirms, okay, it's going to delete its data. So if I had maybe some history of DoorDash orders and I didn't want to lose them, oh, I don't want to delete that. Okay, I could cancel this, but I want to delete the app. I delete it and it disappears off my phone. What happened in the App Store? Well, let's check. If I go to the App Store, the App Store now shows that it's a cloud. I downloaded it once. So even if you paid for apps and downloaded them before, Apple will keep track of you with your Apple ID of apps you have purchased. Okay. I'm going to go back to my other screen, and here's I'm on the apps tab. And one of the favorite things I like about this tab is that way at the bottom, they have lots of they have something called top categories. This is like the department store organization we're all used to. When you go to a department store or a discount store, if you're looking for, men's clothing or women's clothing or children's clothing, you go to a department that tends to have that merchandise. If you're looking for housewares, if you're looking for electronics, if you're looking for just medicine or if you're looking for cleaning, supplies, they're all in a department in the store. Categories is the departments of the App Store. So they'll list a few categories here. I'm on the apps tab and I'm way towards the bottom, but if I tap see all, they show all the different categories of apps. And this is, I found for me, this is one of the most helpful areas I found to browse for apps, because I might be looking for an app for, learning or entertainment or food and drink or health and fitness, whatever it is. And if I don't have a good idea of what an app is and something doesn't show up, I can say, well, what are some good apps for that? Right. And the categories will help, because Apple has picked handpick these apps to go in the categories. There's about 80 to 100 apps in each category. And that saves you a lot of time because there's over 1 million apps in total on the App Store. So let's say I was looking for a health and fitness app. Anybody have any kind of an app they're looking for? Okay. Let's take health and fitness. And if I tap on that, it shows me health and fitness at the top. And back then they have an editor's choice. And you can see there's more to the right here. So personalized ambient music, interesting. Start an exercise plan, healthy eating and dieting, find some Zen, learn from fitness experts, improve your snooze, learn to cook, what we're using today, yoga, health and habit trackers, cycle trackers, and editor's choice here, okay, and top free ones, okay, and top paid. So these are just apps about health and fitness. Yeah, who's in Alberta?
I'm in Alberta.
Okay, who's that?
Bob, I have a question. How come you have so many more top categories than I do? I've only got about 6 on there.
Oh, let's go back a little bit. Okay,
Is
this
that
is what you're
because you
seeing
have-
right now, probably, right?
Yeah, there.
See the see all button?
See all. That's where
Tap
you
that.
were. I missed that one. Thank you.
That's okay. Sometimes it's fast and you miss it. You apologize for that.
Okay.
Yeah, Kathleen.
How would I look up, I have trouble with the exercise. How would I look up exercises for seniors particularly?
Well, let's see. That's a tough one because sometimes they don't always separate them out by age, you know. So let's take a look and see under health and fitness. Let me go to see all, health and fitness. And let's take a look at see all here. Okay, start a new exercise plan. So there's Peloton, you know, LifeSum, Nike Run Club, Fit Plan, Adidas, Glow, Swerk, Nike Training Club, Personal Trainer. I don't know if anybody's specifically got an app for adults over 50 for health and for training.
Bob, I don't see it on my phone, but on my iPad, there are loads of them. I put in exercises for seniors or something of that sort. And for example, there's a couple called HAS Fit, HASFIT, and they've got all different levels. They do
How
a
do you
lot.
spell that?
HASFIT, HASFit.
HASFIT.
FIT.
Okay. Let's try searching for that. Okay. I'm going to go from my app screen to search HASFIT.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like it's one of these. Okay. HASFIT, is this what it looks like?
Well, yeah, I didn't think that was quite but that's her, the gal on the left. That's her husband. Yep.
Okay. All right. So it's a personal trainer in your pocket, 500 real-time workouts. Let's learn about that. Okay. So it's in health and fitness, 500 real-time workouts. So it sounds like they might have things for all fitness levels and goals. And maybe they have some things that have some things related to what they work on. Okay. How they work and stuff. So I don't know if you know, it might be something that you might have to go to like AARP's website or you know, some of the trainers we have that do the fitness and yoga classes on Get Set Up might know of some as well.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yes,
you
yes.
say it
Alberta,
has-
thank you. Yes.
You're welcome, Kathleen.
HASFIT. Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how you got to categories.
Okay, let's go through that again, okay? Let's go through that again, okay? I'm gonna go back to my home screen today. Okay, now my app stores, like I haven't opened it before, but I'm gonna tap on my app store. Who asked that? I forgot.
Arlene.
Arlene, okay, Arlene. So when you open up the App Store, and this, I love categories, but they buried it so deep in the App Store, it's really frustrating, but I love it. Okay, so I'm looking at the tabs on the bottom, and I want to find the Apps tab, okay? I'm going to tap on the Apps tab. This is going to show me the last thing I was looking at. So I want to go back. I want to go back. I want to go back. And if I'm at the top of my apps screen here,
Right.
where I see my profile, what I need to do is I need to swipe and swipe and swipe from the bottom up and keep on going until I get towards the bottom here. And then I see this thing called top categories.
I see.
It's
Thank
way towards the bottom. I apologize on Apple's behalf. I work for Apple, but but this is, I think, one of the most useful ways to find apps, and for some reason they just put it way down there. Then you tap on see all, and you can see all the categories.
Right. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So I just find this useful because if you're looking for books or entertainment or something else, you can find them very easily.
Now, do you think that we should look through each of our apps that are on our phone right now? And if you haven't used it ever or seldom, you should just get rid of it. You think I should do that?
It some apps, they just don't take up a lot of memory on your phone usually, but a lot depends on how much memory you have on your phone, whether you
Oh.
need to delete it or not.
Thank you.
Sure. We have a little feedback here, so a little noise coming in. So I'm going to mute everyone, okay? Just to make sure we don't get noise here. Okay. All right. And if you need to speak, just unmute yourself, okay? But sometimes microphones pick up a little noise, and I don't want to interrupt people, okay? Okay, so now let's go all the way to the top. And at the top, we see a profile picture. This shows up on the apps tab, the games tab, the today tab. Doesn't matter what search tab, it doesn't matter what tab you're looking at. Your profile might have a little shape of a human body there or headset. But if you tap on that, it brings up your account profile with Apple. Shows you the email you use with Apple, and it shows you, I don't use Game Center, but I set up a name there anyway. It shows me how much credit I've got. When you buy a new Apple product, right now they're giving you a 12-month subscription to Apple TV Plus. For that's worth $4.99 a month. So that's why I have a credit of $4.99 there. Now I can also see apps that I've purchased and any subscriptions that I have. So purchased is considered an Apple terminology, whether you download it or whether you paid for it. They don't differentiate a purchase, whether it's free or not. So if I click on purchased, it says my purchases, and I can see all the apps. So there's DoorDash right on top. It tells you when you did them, okay? And so if I paid for an app, it would just let me re-download it again without paying for it. So that's my purchases. It's under my profile. And remember to tap to get back, use those arrows. Now subscriptions is a little bit different. Subscriptions, there we go. Okay, subscriptions. I can share new subscriptions with people on my family plan. or I can renew them, then they have an ad. Yeah, Kathleen.
Yes, where did you get your profile and your profile picture?
Okay, and
The
any of
circle.
the app, on any of the app tabs, it doesn't matter. If you look at the top to the right, there should be a little icon for you, a little blue eye. It's a blue icon before you put your photo there. That's how you get to your profile.
How do you get your photo in there, in the icon or the icon itself?
When you set up your contact information on your iPhone, if you have yourself as a contact and you put a photo there,
Okay.
it'll pull it from your contact information.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. I think. Can't guarantee that, but I think that's how I did it.
Okay, well, you know a lot more than I do, so I appreciate it.
You know, doing something that you haven't done for a couple of years is a
Mm.
challenge sometimes, going back and doing it. Okay, so I'm looking at my profile, and now I want to look at subscriptions. And subscriptions are things that automatically renew unless I cancel them. Okay, so I prefer using Apple Music over other music plans. And so it's an individual plan, it's annual, and the next billing date is October 8th, 2021. It's going to automatically charge my credit card then unless I cancel it. There's that little arrow that tells me there's more. So if I tap on this menu, I can see that right now I'm on an individual plan, I'm paying yearly. As I could pay monthly, but I save a little money by paying yearly. So that's I do that. Okay, and I can change my plan if I want to cancel my subscription. I can cancel my subscription. Now you'll see these promotions. Apple's promoting Apple One. I don't know if it's a good deal or not. I mean, I think if you get Apple TV and Apple Music and you use a lot of iCloud and you get a lot of other services from Apple, it might be worth it, but I don't get that many. So I use Apple Music and I use a little bit of iCloud storage. And so right now it doesn't seem like a good deal for me. But if you were getting those services, they bundle it together. That's what Apple One is. It's a bundle of Apple services. Okay, let's go back. And here's Office 365. Okay, I use Microsoft Office and I use it, PowerPoint, Word, Excel. And so it's an annual renewal. It will renew April 11th, 2021. I can change it to a month-to-month plan. So what I recommend, if something's got a subscription, try it for a month first. I mean, I did this with Apple News. I tried it for a month and I didn't like it. So I just canceled it before the month was over. That's my recommendation, is to just try something for a month, see if you really use it and like it. And then if you do, switch it over to a 1-year subscription, because you will save a little money. But then if you don't, you've only paid for 1 month. You haven't paid for the year. I understand Apple will give refunds, in situations. I'm going to include in the email you get from class a little follow-up on how to contact Apple if you've got a problem. Because I had a problem actually in one of the apps I downloaded in class, didn't work right, and I paid 99 cents for it, right? So Apple gave me credit for the app, because I reported a problem. So the App Store is an app all by itself, right? It really has a lot of, but it's an app that's a store where you download things for your phone. And remember, without apps on your phone is a really expensive paperweight. And so take advantage of it. Try apps out. Make sure they will help you out and do things for you. So I wanted to just make sure that everybody feels a little more comfortable using the App Store. It's you can kill hours browsing around the app store on your phone, like so. But ask people for good apps. Like we got a recommendation for an app today from somebody. People are happy to share apps, that they like and enjoy, and that's one of the best recommendations is word of mouth. Okay, so we learned how to find apps on the App Store, how to tell if an app is free or paid, and how to manage subscriptions. And I know some of you are learning your iPhone, so take advantage of some of the iPhone classes that we do. I mean, I know how to use the iPhone and Macs and Windows and stuff, but there wasn't anybody doing many Windows classes and we needed more of them. So I focused on Windows and PowerPoint and a few things like that. So I do some classes on Windows 10 basics. I do a class on Windows 10 settings. And so I hope I get to see you there. And you'll always be able to get a recording of the class too. And you'll get notes. Yeah, Kathleen, you have a question?
Sorry, I keep bothering you, but things come up. This is not probably part of the program, but how did you do the little red dot that accented things?
We actually have a class that I do on how to do those things. It's on Zoom, Zoom whiteboard and annotations.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't know if it's scheduled, but yeah, it does it make it easier for you to follow my mouse as somebody watching?
Oh, sure. One of the problems I have with Zoom classes is that they have this little white arrow and I can't see most of anything. If you can make it larger, that would be even better.
It would be, wouldn't it? On certain Windows things you can. On the Zoom annotations, unfortunately, it doesn't let you make it much bigger. But particularly when you can't show your finger swiping on a screen on an iPhone, and showing people what they're doing. So, but thanks for the feedback. But yeah, we do, that's part of Zoom's annotation features.
Good.
How I got that.
We'll put, yes, the color definitely helps a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thanks.
Lower hand. There we go. I'm trying to lower my hand and it's not working.
That's okay. I've got it taken care of for you. Don't worry about it.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
I'll be a good host. Okay. So take advantage of the notes. You're going to get links to some things, Apple websites to help you with the App Store, a link for if you're having questions about your Apple account. They're available by phone. They're available by web. They're available by chat. And so Apple will help you out whether you're with the App Store and your Apple ID, whether your product is under warranty or not, because it's a service that's available from Apple. So you can always call Apple for help with those types of things too. Yeah, Kathleen, go ahead.
Once again, I recently found an Apple virtual class. They're very professional, but they aren't very interactive. It's very sterile. So I much prefer this.
Yeah, the whole point of Get Set Up is to be available to have a live instructor that can also answer questions. And I mean, we get all kinds of questions, but the questions are fun because that's how I learn things too. And that's how I found the alphabetical list of apps in the App Store, So little things like that, are always a nice surprise to find out about technology that I didn't know about too.
Yeah, they cut out the audio, the visual, and they only have chat for one person. So even though there's a live person, it might as well not be.
Sure, run more like a webinar. It sounds like would be what you would call a webinar, where it's mostly a lecture as opposed to interact. Well, thanks for the feedback.
Sure.
And if you get a chance, give us some feedback if you think you'd like to see anything else offered. Discussion group topics, other things that are of interest. We're always looking for new guides, if you or people then get set up to host an interest group of any kind, that'd be great. And if you want a recording, just request one at help@getsetup.io. And I'm doing another class today on Zoom virtual backgrounds. So maybe if you're, today is learning day for you, maybe I'll see you there. And if not, maybe I'll see you in another class. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for joining me today and have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye. John, did you have a question? I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. Thank you. Goodbye.
Oh, thank you. Okay, great. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.